the chalk represented a rock. And what was happening to that rock? It was dissolving, right? It was kind of coming apart and changing. And then it was becoming something else, right? Do you remember what that process was called?
Nope.
It's kind of like a word that has to do with the temperature outside.
Winter.
Heat.
No.
Oh, volcanic action. Magma.
No.
The magma.
What do we talk about when we're talking about whether it's raining or sunny?
It
Eric.
changes?
Weather formation.
Okay, we're talking about the weather, right? So do you remember what that word was we were using when we talked about, it's different from the weather outside, but the word is similar sounding to that word. When we talked about the rocks, what they do, I'll give you a hint. It's written on the board. Enrique, do you see it? It's written on the board.
Say what?
The word that has to do with, that sounds a little bit like weather. Do you see it up there?
What? Coast.
The first word.
Watching.
Right there.
Watching. Water.
Right here.
Water. Weathering.
Oh, thanks, kid. Okay, so your time's up. You need to come sit back down, please. Okay, so we were talking about weathering. And the weathering is when the rocks, certain elements in the air, remember some of it is water. There's the chemical weathering that we talked about, and then the physical weathering. So the physical weathering was the water and the wind hitting the rocks and making them come apart and change into some sediment. We're going to talk about deposition. So before, I need it quiet. I need it quiet. So before we start, we're going to play a quick little game, okay? So I'm going to put you in two teams. I said I am going to put you in two teams, okay? And then we're going to play a little game. So I built two little mountains. Okay? They're supposed to represent little mountains. Do they look the same?
No.
Do all mountains look the same?
No.
No. Do all mountains stay the same?
No.
No, they don't, right?
You chose
So,
this mountain.
What you're going to do is once I tell you your team, once I tell you your team, are you listening?
Yes.
Okay. You are going to take a piece off of your mountain.
Oh, which one is mine?
What?
Which one is my mountain?
Well, I'll tell you when I put you in your teams. And then you are going to walk it over to the other side, and you're going to stick it somewhere on this new landform.
Water?
Anywhere you want. Well, I ran out of the gray ones. So, you're going to stick it anywhere you want.
And why the
then
lava?
the next person's going to come. You're going to go back. You're going to tag the next person.
Lava?
Who should be talking right now?
You.
So why do I hear your voices? Okay, so then you're going to go back. You're going to tag the next person. They're going to come on, pick a piece, come on over, and then they're going to put their piece on. Then they're going to go back and they're going to high five you again. And then you're going to pick another piece and you're going to come and put it down somewhere. Okay?
I like tagging.
We're going to keep doing that until we're done. Well, tagging, like high five. That's how you tag people. And
No, but not like this.
games.
Like this.
no, like this. You high five.
I like that. I like this. Me too. I like tagging.
Okay, so if we tag them, do we tag them hard?
No.
No. We tag them nicely. Okay? So, Jonathan, come on over. You're going to be right here. Thank you. Eric, come on over. You're going to be right here.
I'm on.
Enrique, come on over.
Why do I have to be on Eric's team?
Did I say what team you were on?
Yes.
Over
It's
where?
me. I'm on his team.
You're going to be right here. And Cade,
With me?
you're going to be right. What do you think?
Don't understand. Fourth grade.
All right.
Then
You and Eric are both fourth graders, right?
I'm a fourth grade.
Okay, so are you standing up? Stand up. Yeah.
you guys cobblestone.
I just had to use what I had.
A beautiful
And
cobblestone.
wood to burn too. We're doing him.
Go, 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 go. Go, go, Power Rangers.
What are you doing? Tag.
Okay, go back and walk.
I did. That's how you were winning.
No.
You see that doggies. So that's.
Look out. Poison! Wait! Whoa, whoa, why is this back here?
Put it on. Okay, wait right there.
We win.
Let them finish.
We win.
There's no winning.
Yes, there is.
All right, Enrique.
There's no winning, right?
We won. We won. We won.
Miss B, there's no winning, right?
We won.
It's not really nice. It's just for fun.
Yeah, it's just for fun. Get off that.
Yeah, that's on the table. All right, take a look at your structures. Do you remember what my mountains look like at the beginning?
That's not my line.
Yeah? Do these look the same?
No.
No. So, when you took it apart, that was like erosion. Because erosion,
That's a big mountain.
this is a big
Right.
mountain? Yeah. Well, I took a big part of it. Erosion, so remember weathering was when our rocks were breaking down into sediment, right? And then erosion is when that sediment is moved to a new location. And then you took your sediment, and you deposited it someplace new. Okay, can you face forward, please? Can you face forward? Okay, so you deposit it, which is their deposition, when particles are carried to another location. Okay, so you took it from its original form, you broke it down, and it broke down into sediment. You took that sediment and you carried it to the other side, and then you placed it back down again, and that's where it was left. And it built something completely new and completely different,
Like
right? Just like that. Okay, so we're just gonna read a couple pages here about erosion and deposition to give you a better understanding. We've watched it break down. But what happens to those weathered rocks? Jonathan. Have you ever watched a river flow? You may have seen the sediments and small rocks being carried along in the flowing water. These sediments and small rocks are weathered rock. The transport of weathered rock is called erosion. Weathering and erosion work together to change and shape the land. Flowing water is the biggest cause of erosion. So when it rains a lot, if you've ever noticed, sometimes there's landslides on mountains. That's erosion. That's the water moving the dirt somewhere else. Okay? Rainwater carries sediments into streams and rivers. The moving water then flows downhill and carries the sediments along. Eventually, the sediments are dropped off in a new place. Waves also cause erosion. Raise your hand if you've been to the beach. Have you been to the beach, Enrique? No? So if you've watched the waves as they're rolling, they move the sand. And there's a lot of sand in the waves. You can feel the sand when you're going in the water. Okay? And so it's dropping off sand in new places. It's moving it around to a new location. Hang on just a second, okay?
No, I can't.
So the waves also break the rock apart. Did you know that sand is just small broken up pieces of rock? Did you know that?
Also
That's where the sand comes from. What?
Also glass.
Yep, sometimes it's glass. That's where we get sea glass from, right?
glass
So
is
if
made
people
of
leave
sand.
If people leave glass at the beach and the water gets to it, it will slowly weather it, and over time it becomes really soft and smooth glass. It's no longer sharp. dropped off. The dropping off of weathered rock is called deposition. So once it drops it somewhere and leaves it, it's now deposited it to that new location. So that's deposition. Rivers and streams deposit sediment along their banks or sides. Many of the finer sediments reach the mouths or ends of rivers. Then they are deposited in huge amounts. Winds too can pick up sand and soil and deposit them many miles away. So kind of like when a tornado happens. Have you seen pictures of tornadoes when they like pick stuff up and deposit it somewhere else? Is that like the book we have? Yep. So that would be the same type of thing. There's going to be a lot of dirt. You can see all that dirt down at the bottom being moved around. So that would be the way that the wind is eroding the ground. What do you think, does erosion make landforms bigger, or do you think it makes them smaller? Okay, why does it make them smaller?
Because it takes away stuff from there and puts it to somewhere else, and it makes it there. Can I take my other 200 bricks?
In just a few minutes. Okay, so if you have a mountain of some sort and it's eroding away, then yes, it's becoming smaller. Okay? So do you think that the beach is a result of erosion
Yes.
or deposition?
Erosion.
What do you think, Eric?
Erosion.
You think it's erosion? What do you think, Enrique?
I'm not asking for a question.
Oh,
I have devotion.
You think it's a deposition?
Deposition.
No, you said those are the ones.
Deposition.
So we have weathering, erosion, and deposition. So do you think that the beach is deposition?
I heard all
Okay, but do you think that the beach is a cause of erosion or deposition?
deposition.
Deposition? Why is that?
Because it dissolves like a piece of glass dissolves.
So it's depositing stuff on the beach?
Yes.
Yeah? What do you think, Cade?
Deposition.
You think it's deposition? What do you think, Jonathan?
I don't know.
You don't know whether it's erosion or deposition?
I think
You think deposition?
you can also
Well,
throw metal inside.
It's both. Did you know it could be both?
Yes.
So we have the rocks eroding away and creating sand, but then we also have the waves depositing stuff in new locations. And did you know that there's often rivers that lead to the beaches?
Yep.
Near a lot of beaches you can find other little rivers of water because the water has to get to the ocean somehow. All the water that's high up on the mountains eventually flows down and gets to the ocean. So there's a lot of erosion happening along those rivers, and eventually it's all deposited at the ocean, at the beach, okay? So what are the two causes of erosion? What two things cause rocks to erode or sediment to erode? Cade,
Hold on.
what did I say right here?
Yeah, and there would be a lot of tornadoes.
But what causes that?
Weather.
Oh, wait, move
But
it.
The
Weather. Wind.
the wind. Okay? What's the other thing that can cause erosion? What is the other thing that can cause erosion? Eric?
Someone's talking.
rain.
Okay? The water, right? The rain. Good job. How do you think weathering and erosion work together? Remember, weathering is what? Oh, look at that.
It's like a
beach,
beach.
right?
The inside is like with water breaking it down.
Okay? So that's the weathering process.
This
Careful.
totally freaking hot, both of them.
Good job. Glad you didn't drop them.
This one is being broken down. Not that.
Okay, so but both of those are examples of weathering. Don't open this. Okay, so both of these were our examples of weathering. And then how does erosion play into that? After it's weathered, after the rocks have been weathered and they've been broken down into the sediment, all those little pieces on here, imagine if this was in a river. What's going to happen to all that stuff in there that's floating around now?
It's gonna go to
downstream and end up somewhere else, right? So if it's a rock that gets broken down into something that might become the sand, it'll get deposited elsewhere, okay? All right, I have a quick video that you're gonna watch.
I don't want to go to the beach.
Good, Zoe. Come on, let's play one more time.
Oh, I really can't. I've got to study for that weathering and erosion quiz tomorrow.
Zoe, playing Super Duo Breaker and Whoosh is just like studying weathering and erosion.
Somehow I think my teacher might disagree.
No. Check it out. In the game, Breaker and Whoosh are a superhero duo. They work together and change the land. Breaker breaks things down, and Whoosh carries them away.
And what does that have to do with studying?
Weathering and erosion work together just like Breaker and Whoosh. They're a scientific super duo. Weathering is the breakdown of materials in the Earth's crust into sediment. If weathering were a superhero, it would be Breaker.
Actually, that sort of makes sense.
Erosion is when weathered rock is carried away by gravity, water, wind, and ice. If erosion were a superhero, it would be Whoosh.
You're right. Weathering and erosion work together and change the Earth, just like a pair of superheroes.
Right. Think of weathering as a superhero that acts in different ways and breaks things down. It breaks down rocks with water. It wears things away with wind. It can even scorch or freeze the Earth with temperature, cracking and breaking it apart. When weathering acts like this, it's called physical weathering.
Wow.
That's only the beginning. There's another whole side to weathering's personality. Chemicals in the air mix with water to make acid rain that eats away at limestone rocks. Oxygen reacts with iron and forms rust. That's chemical weathering.
Then, after weathering is done breaking things down, his trusty sidekick, erosion, steps in.
Yeah, erosion swoops in and picks up the pieces, carrying them away. Erosion knows how to move. It does it all sorts of ways. It's the flow of water that moves rocks and sand, the push of the wind that carries sediment away, even the movement of a glacier dropping pieces of rock at the bottoms of oceans and lakes.
Glaciers move?
Yeah, glaciers are giant moving rivers of ice. They carry along pieces of rock and then drop them as they move. It's called deposition because the glacier is making a deposit.
Weathering and erosion really are like a super duo. Who knew?
You knew. You just needed to stop playing all those video games and think.
Oh, look who's talking.
So, you want to play another game?
Let's see if I've got this weathering and erosion song and dance down first. Weathering and erosion work together to change the environment. Weathering breaks things down and can be physical or chemical. Erosion actually moves the sediment that weathering leaves behind. Together, they're constantly changing our environment.
Looks like someone just got all their studying done.
Thanks to your help.
We're a pretty super duo ourselves.
All right, so you each have 3 different situations, and we need to figure out if they are telling us type of weathering, erosion, or deposition. So, who would like to go first with one of theirs? Cade, read one of yours to us.
1. Flood water pounding against the canyon wall and wearing it down.
Okay, so if we have flood water pounding against a canyon wall and wearing it down, what is that an example of? I got it. Okay, so tell us nice and loud. What is it an example of?
Weathering!
Okay,
What a what?
it is an example of weathering. So if the flood water is pounding against the canyon wall, the canyon wall is rock, and it's breaking down that rock, right?
Have to.
So that is how. So that is how the water is weathering it away. Which category does that fit under? Remember, weathering is when it's breaking it down. Erosion is when there's movement of sediment from one location to another. And deposition is when it's deposited it in its new location. So Eric, which one is it going to fit under?
Weathering.
Floodwaters moving soil from one location to another?
I don't know.
What do you think, Enrique?
I think it's the one with E.
Erosion? Okay, so let's read it again. Floodwaters moving soil from one right, last one. Muddy water being carried away by a fast-moving river.
Oh. I don't really
Right.
think it goes to that one.
Well, erosion, the movement of sediment or soil
I'm
from
not
one
sure.
location or another by means of water, ice, or wind. So we have muddy water being carried away. So the mud is mixed in the water and it's being carried away by the river. Right? It hasn't been deposited. It has not been deposited to a new location yet. It's still in transition. Okay? Yes.
We have one person, one thing that has 5.
The weathering.
Yeah,
Yeah.
withering.
Well, we
4,
didn't,
3.
because we didn't do all of them. Okay.
Let's do all of them.
No, we're gonna move on. We have one more thing we have to finish before we're done. So, here's what I'm gonna do. You guys are gonna work with a partner. I will be partnering you up. So don't even ask or say anything, because if you make a comment, then I might choose a different. So you are going to be working with a partner, and with your partner, on this sheet of paper, you are going to be coming up with your definition of weathering, erosion, and deposition. You can use this as an example, okay? So you don't need to copy down this whole definition, but let's first go over it, okay? So we're gonna, real quick before you get started on this, we're gonna make up some little motions to go with our definitions. So, if we said weathering is the breaking down of disintegration of substances such as rocks and minerals, what would be a good way to demonstrate weathering? How would you show me breaking apart?
Falling, like cutting it off.
You're making it fall off,
Yes, like the tip of the mountain.
Oh, no.
okay?
Oh, no. Like the tip of the tower. You know how the towers are all made out of like rocks? Maybe like that could be getting out of rocks and it's
Or
being
like
tipped
this.
over.
Okay. Okay, so we're breaking down. You need to say it as well. Breaking down rocks into smaller rocks or soil.
I was gonna say pieces.
Okay, into smaller pieces. Okay, so that, if you would like, that could be your definition that you write on your poster. Okay, how about erosion? It's the movement of sediment or soil. How would we show the movement of sediment or soil? What do you think? Enrique? So you're kind of moving it away?
Yes, like a pile of sand. The tip, some of it just flies away to the wind.
Okay, what if we were just kind of moving back and forth?
Yes,
So it's kind of like it's moving all around. Okay? So, here we go. Erosion. It's going to be, Eric, ready? With your hands. Okay? Your hands need to be moving. Okay? Erosion is the movement of sand or soil. So deposition is when we've been dropped to that new location, right? So how would we show that?
Like I'm moving. Like, yeah, see, I'm at that desk. Now I moved over here to the market bucket.
Okay, you eroded to a new location. And you were deposited to that new location, right?
Yep.
So we saw all of it. We saw the erosion and the deposition, okay? Real quick, I'm gonna have you do one more exercise before we get started on this thing, because I think you're gonna like it. All to come over here, up to the front. Jonathan, come on up. Okay, so first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna show me weathering, but you're gonna start in a clump, okay? So come over here, right here in front of me. You're gonna clump together. Clump together right here. Right here.
Space.
Right here. No space. We're clumped together as a rock.
Yeah, we're gonna now hug each other now.
But
Yeah.
Hey, listen carefully. So right now you guys are a rock, okay? When I listen, when I say weathering, you're gonna break apart. Are you listening? Okay, ready? Weathering. Break apart. Okay, when I say erosion, you're gonna just continue moving around. Erosion. And when I say deposition, you're gonna drop to the ground. Deposition.
shoot a freaking hell.
All right.
A leg is starting to see arms.
Okay. Kate and Enrique, I'm gonna have you come work right here on the floor. And Eric and Jonathan, I'm gonna have you come work over here.
I'm sorry for your loss. Like what happened there? Yeah.
All right.
Come on.
What are you?
Okay. How about you each hold one side, and then tell us what you wrote for your definition. Describe your picture.
This is the Death Star.
Make sure you face us while you speak.
Okay, when things
Okay.
break down, it's weathering.
Kate, I need to stop you. I want you to face us because you're talking to us, right? You're not talking to Enrique. You're talking to us.
When things break down, it's weathering. This is the Death Star. Weathering the Earth. This is the Death Star. Weathering Neptune. This is the Death Star. Using so much air that it's pushing it and water and the mud.
So it's creating wind.
Yes.
Okay.
And then when
And-
sediment gets moved, then we got deposition. I mean, that's erosion and deposition. The sand and rocks gets dropped at the beach and new locations.
Good job.
Now you
Thank
can
you.
see the back.
Excellent work. Give him a round of applause.
Cool.
Thank
Alright, I mean, show the back.
Enrique's wrong. All right, Eric
No, I'm gonna
and
hold it.
Jonathan.
I'm gonna.
Okay, Eric
Rock, paper,
and
scissors.
Jonathan were very
wait.
good listeners for you guys. So now you need to do the same for them.
Rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors. I win.
No, wait, let's do 3 rounds.
Nope. Just out of one.
You can explain it, Eric.
Back off.
Okay, hold on. Wait until Kate and Enrique are sitting down and listening nicely.
Stop, Eric. If you won, you should be holding.
Okay?
You hold both sides.
When you have a seat, they'll
I
get
tuck it in
started.
my shoe. No, let's
Quickly,
hold
please.
both. Why are we just hold the one side? Hold the other side.
Thank you.
Aiden.
All right. Share with us your information.
John, do you first.
No, I don't want to say nothing.
Okay, well tell us show us where weathering is. Okay, it's in the middle there. And what is your picture? What is your definition of weathering?
Right.
What did you guys say?
Um,
It looks like it says breaking something down.
breaking something down.
Okay, and
rock.
can you explain your picture?
There's a water and fish tank and it cracked the wall.
Oh, it cracked the rock. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. How about erosion?
So Jonathan built has it's like a mudslide and Jonathan has a boat.
Oh, so there was a mudslide, and that's your erosion that happened.
Help. Okay, boat. Saved you. Now we're gonna get to the other side.
Oh wait, I get boat now.
Remember what I said? They were very quiet listening. Okay, so your definition